Hello folks, and welcome to the beautiful and charming little town of Provincetown, located in the middle of the prominent American region of New England. So today I'm going to be reacting as a Frenchman to the American cities located exactly in New England, more particularly in the first region, the first state of New England, which is Maine, going from the north of the state down to the south. So I will be reacting to the overall urban planning and how the cities are looking inside the state today. So I hope you will be enjoying this video. Let's get started. Maine is populated by around 1.3 million people, mostly living close to Portland, which is the main city, populated by 450,000 people. Lewiston, Augusta, and Bangor are three other cities that are populated by more than 100,000 people, in their respective metropolitan areas, of course. So we can see that Maine is very sparsely populated. Most people are living here down close to the wider Boston area. So this means here close to the border with Massachusetts and New Hampshire. But once you get like a couple hundred kilometers out of this overall Boston area, it gets pretty sparsely populated. As you can see that there are no main roads like in this whole space in the north of the state. And this means that no cities are actually here. It's mostly small villages or small rural towns. And yeah, it has a very tight connection with the Canadian state of Quebec. So this means that a lot of people here actually in Maine speak French at home. It is actually the American state with the highest proportion of people speaking French at home, around 5.5%. So it's even more than in Louisiana, for example, which is often considered like the most French part of the USA. So this is mostly due today to the geographical proximity with Quebec. But there is also another Canadian province, which is New Brunswick, which is very close to Maine. Well, more than very close, it's actually bordering Maine. Okay, so we can see it's actually not all of its cities, but it's more farming areas. So we can look at how those small cities look like. It's not surprising that most of it are small houses, since, well, it's a small city far outside anything else. I'm wondering if this is a very old place or more of a newer place. Most of this maybe is from the beginning of the 20th century. Let's get down the street here. It looks interesting. Looks like they have some small pedestrian street going on. Yeah, that's exactly it. Interesting that they chose to have this even in this very small village. It's yeah, it's quite surprising. Like even here in Europe, like we don't necessarily have pedestrian streets inside very small villages, unless it's like in Italy and stuff, and it's very narrow streets. So then it's obviously easier to make them pedestrian, but here it's like it's kind of disconnected and not really useful. So that's why I think it's surprising that they chose to make one here. Yeah, many small shops in this small town, but it's not very old, I guess, as I've told, like from the maybe it's 100-year-old, something like this. Yeah, so you got a main road going through the city, a bit outside. And here it should be like the commercial area. Really large roads for such a small such a small city, and they even made an overpass here. So they have a golf course. I guess it's pretty common in small New England villages. It's a veteran facility, it's called veteran service. Wondering if it's a museum or a park or... Yeah, that's interesting. Then we can take a look at the river down here. Yeah, you really can see it's a small town. Not too much happening. Then there is this other village which is 15 kilometers away. This looks like a military base. Let's take a look at the main central streets. Yeah, it's a shame that they have such a large road and so much traffic inside their main central commercial streets. Like I would have at least narrowed the road, like by a couple lanes, since, well, I mean, it's a small village, so they should be able to. It's interesting. It seems like they have some kind of park going on here down the river. That's nice. That's nice. In America, it's not necessarily given that cities choose to make parks, so you gotta be pretty grateful when you see some. Okay, is this like some kind of social housing project? Let's take a look. Well, I don't know if it's social housing, but it definitely seems pretty cheap. And the view is from 2007. That's why it's kind of weird. Yeah, honestly, it's not looking too bad. Like, they also have a little basketball court behind and stuff. So this place is called Presque Isle. That's very French, and it means peninsula in French. So I'm wondering. Okay, might be because of this whole thing, kind of a peninsula with the river, I guess. Maybe it's this part, I don't know. Okay, they have another park? Nah, that's too good to be true. I'm wondering if it's like a park you actually can go to. Yeah, it looks like it. Oh yeah, that's great. It's very good. It looks like honestly a pretty rich place. Like some people be living pretty good here. But yeah, in my opinion, both the places we've just seen, they are of course pretty car-centric, but not as terrible as most of the US, I'd say. You can see, like, for example, here we have a sidewalk and stuff. It's made like this whole commercial area is made not too far from the city center, which means that you can actually walk between neighborhoods, and this commercial area is pretty good. Even though we see no one walking here, but like, again, it's a small town, so you don't see people all the time outside. That's just normal. Yeah, like it's not completely disconnected from the city. That's pretty good. It's not completely stupidly oversized lots for the housing. Like, they don't have enormous front yards and stuff like this for the most part. So here I believe I'm in a more popular area. By popular I mean less rich, less wealthy. You can see the houses get pretty small, but it's not looking so bad, I believe. Yeah, it looks like there might be quite a solid amount of retirees living in this kind of small town. Also, of course, people working in the army base here. Some kind of exurban area. Or maybe it's more farming, I don't know. Yeah, okay, probably more small farms than... Yeah, okay, this is very old. Yeah, so here you gotta remember we are very far away from any large city or like potential job opportunities and stuff, so pretty disconnected areas, so of course they are going to be struggling a bit, like to find decent jobs and money. In other words, it was pretty interesting to look at Presque Isle and Caribou to get an idea of how small American towns are looking in isolated areas and what the struggles of these type of communities are in the 21st century. As we've seen that this area is overall struggling quite a lot economically compared with the rest of New England and is losing a lot of population. It's actually losing 10% during the last decade. So yeah, that wraps it all up for Caribou and Presque Isle, and in the next video we are going to be looking at the Maine coast. I hope you enjoyed this video and see you soon.